Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is our fifth grade team, as well as our math specialist and our art teacher. So they're going to share a bit, and then we'll have some time at the end for some Q&A. So thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Good to see everyone. You're welcome to keep your cameras off. You're also welcome to turn them on. We always love seeing your faces, whatever y'all are comfortable with. So shall we jump right in? Do you want to drive the deck, Zach, or should I?
I can go ahead and share.
Great.
Here we go. Oh, wrong one. This is for our literary salon coming up in December, but here we have it.
Welcome, everyone. My name's Jordan Heinz. We'll go over a few things with you, but it's going to be a pretty crisp presentation because we want to make sure we have time for your questions. So with that, we'll hop over to our agenda for the day.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will indeed. We'll introduce ourselves, to tell you a little bit about ourselves. We'll go over some big high examples, and then we'll get specific, and then we'll have time for your questions. So this is me. I'm Jordan Heinz. I've been teaching for 20 and some years. And this is my family. I have a sixth grader named Parker who just makes us, come up with new crazy things all the time. And my daughter Piper, who's in third grade this year with her best friend right underneath her. And then my partner in all things, my wife, Erica. And it's just been really fun to be at a point in my teaching where my kids are really similar in age to my students, and just having that full circle has been a blast this year.
Hi, my name is Zach Bloom. I'm the other fifth grade teacher. This is my family, my wife, Callie, and my 8-year-old Liza, and my son, Rufus, who's 4. This is my 5th year at Catlin Gable. Before that, I taught for about 10 years at the San Francisco Friends School, a Quaker school in the Bay Area. And Quaker education plays a large role in sort of how I approach building classroom community, as well as sort of approach to seeing the whole child, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And yeah, so happy to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Anna Blakesley and I am the beginning and lower school math specialist. This is a picture of, on the left is me and my son and our dog Freddie, who might make an appearance tonight, as he sometimes does. And then on the other picture is we are from Colorado, and that's our dog Georgie, who's no longer with us, but just, I think the ranch life in Colorado was very important to our family. And I spent a lot of years teaching in Colorado. Before that, I taught in Costa Rica at an international school for 4 years. And before this is my 4th year at Catlin Gable, and before that I was an instructional coach, a math instructional coach, and worked on some grants for teacher professional learning in Colorado. So I love Catlin Gable. I love the community. I love the feel, and I really enjoy the whole child approach.
Hello, my name is Peggy Schaffler, and I'm the art teacher in the lower school at Catlin. And I was drawn to, well, first of all, there's on the left, there's me and my getup ready to teach with all of my gear for the COVID situation. And then I have my daughters who, it's a little blurry, but they are full grown. They were able to go to Catlin, and as a parent, I fully was just overwhelmed with how wonderful the teachers were and their education that they received. My daughter on the left is now a hydrology engineer and does water risk management throughout the world. My other daughter is a designer and a carpenter and has her own business. So, and we are dancing on the beach together, which I love. The beach. I was drawn to Catlin after working for about 10 years in other public and private schools and at a university. I was drawn to it because I wanted to give back what I was so fortunate to receive as a student at Catlin Gable. I was able to go there as well for 12 years, and it's absolutely a phenomenal place, phenomenal people. And I guess what really draws me and drew me and still draws me to Catlin is that the students are at the center of all that we do. So that's who I am.
So here is a basic structure of a fifth grade day. This is kind of a combination of Jordan's schedule and my schedule, the two fifth grade sides. However, they're very complementary. So you can see we have these large stretches of time. All these blocks are about 20, these little cells are about 20 minutes. So this first thing, SMASH, this integration between science, music, art, woodshop, and homeroom. That's what brings Peggy into the fold with Jordan and me for the current partnerships and projects we've been working on. We'll share a little bit more about later. We have these long blocks of math, deep collaboration with Anna here. And really having also this math and these two large blocks allows for really a great ability for me to differentiate math and meet the range of learners in really interesting ways. We have these consistent blocks throughout the day where students have wellness and language, consistent lunch and recess throughout the day, and then really nice large blocks for literacy where we're able to mix up the activities, do a deep dive into a workshop model with both reading and writing. And throughout all of this, there's lots of pockets of time for us to get the kids outside, get them moving on our beautiful campus.
That's me. So at Catlin Gable, we have a PS through 12 math instructional philosophy. I'll give you a moment to read that. That's the text on the left there. And we follow this philosophy with what we do at math, with math. And the bold pink creative problem solvers, curiosity and perseverance, communication and collaboration, those are our anchors in our math program. So we are using illustrative mathematics, which is a curriculum, and we've decided to use that curriculum K through 12, which we're really excited about. Sixth grade is using it this year, but 7th through 12th has not started using it. They will next year. But K through 5 we're currently in our second year of the program. Illustrative mathematics is a inquiry-based mathematics program. And so we are letting kids explore and make connections. And, math's done really differently these days than when I was in school. So we're all diving deep into that. The students, the teachers, everyone's diving into how do we teach children the best. And from current research and, we know that that inquiry base works, and we've chosen illustrative mathematics to give us tasks and a system that is really beneficial to our math program. We love this, how to be a math person. Step 1, do math, any type. And step 2, be a person.
So I want to share a little bit about our social emotional philosophy. There's a lot of joy in our classroom. There is a lot of structure, and in the best way, the sort of discipline in order for, in terms of the structure sense, so students are able to thrive, make positive decisions, and feel that sense of belonging in the community. We have a responsive classroom approach. So that starts fundamentally with our morning meeting every day, which the students are able to run independently. They know the structures, they know how to implement them. 4 major components include a greeting. Everybody hears their name multiple times every morning, really anchors that sense of belonging. Students share, and part of the sharing is asking questions about what's going on. So they can share anything that's going on in their life. Sometimes it's what they had for breakfast. Sometimes it's a major event going on outside of school, no matter how sort of positive, painful, and everything in between. And then students are asking questions. So it's building conversation skills as they're getting to know each other. We have an activity, which I hope this is an example of in the picture. They bounce around with alacrity. They are super engaged. It gets them up, it gets them moving, which we know is good for their brains. And it also anchors a lot of the skills we want taught in the classroom around listening, following directions, cooperation, collaboration. Around 5th grade, they're starting to figure out that's kind of the purpose of some of the activities. And so we also then have a morning message, ways to anchor the day, ways to get them started, ways to communicate, and so many different opportunities just to get them engaged in all that's going to be happening during the day. Kindness, respect, and safety are 3 major components and agreements throughout the entire lower school. And then performing with integrity and, of course, peaceful problems. Oh, I have integrity on there twice. It's that important, integrity. I like it so much. I mentioned the Quaker thing. And then we've got peaceful problem solving, which comes up. We do it explicitly. And then, of course, it comes up so throughout the day, often practiced in collaboration with Genevieve supporting the class, as well as Stephen, our lower school counselor, supporting the class in age-appropriate restorative practices that the students can take on to engage in kind of difficult conflict resolution.
So you might be asking yourself, these are great ideas. We're pretty excited. And what does this actually look like? What is my kid going to be doing if they're joining the Catlin Gable community? So we want to walk you through a little story. What you see here are some of the Oregon State standards for social studies for 5th grade uplifted. There's lots of standards, and here's just a few so you get an idea of some of the outcomes that are occurring, hopefully, in every 5th grade classroom across the state. You mind jumping a slide? Zach's driving. He's my slide guy.
Give me a beat.
What we first do when we tackle this is we begin with an essential question for the kids, right? And this is the driving force. And we kind of anchor in and sit down and we say, you know, we're wondering about this. These questions are going to be our motivation and kind of our North Star throughout our whole project. And the ones we're looking at this year, how can we examine and influence the complex relationship between humans and the environment? It's a big question. Could answer it a million ways, and it's written that way on purpose. This other more inspirational one is how do we fight with hope, right? This is a change project we're talking about. You mind jumping to the next one?
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna engage in a cycle. And there's lots of different cycles that we use in learning. And this one has 4 major stages, right? There's this stage where we really, spark an idea, we get hooked, we get buy-in with the kids. Then we're immersed and do research and investigate, and we develop skills along the way to be able to do that. And then we share and publish, and then that creates this loop, right? So there's the large overall cycle that we go through for the major project. And then there's all the smaller cycles that naturally occur as part of that work. And if we think back to our own lives, right? Even something as simple as like, I'm going to build something out of wood, and all the learning that you have to do and all the figuring out and trial and error. Well, we're applying the same thing to something big, which is what can I do about climate change? It's a scary topic. It's an intimidating topic, but our children are going to be the major agents of change in this. And we want to empower them as early as possible and with positive agency. We want them thinking, oh, how are we going to solve this? I'm going to solve this. I have that power and I actually know how to do some things with it. So we start with, can we change Catlin Gable to help the environment? Something local, just ask the kids. And then as you can see around the circle, all these questions start to come up to, well, what do we need to know? Well, we have to do a lot of research. Well, who should we talk to? How do we talk to someone when we're asking them to collaborate with us? Have other people done this work? How do I know if my idea is actually going to be effective? How do I design an assessment and assess what other perspectives or lenses? I have my perspective, but I should probably incorporate other people's ideas. And then you can see the looping that starts to happen, right? I need to know how to write a letter. I need to know how to cite my sources. I need to know how to do good research. How do I ask the internet a question and know that my answer is actually the truth? It's a big, big subject of study. And this gets into us because it's authentic, it's real, and then the kids actually implement that. They're going to meet with the head of school. They're going to meet with other leaders in the community. They're going to reach out and they're going to share their ideas and they're going to create authentic change. And through that, they're going to develop a sense of real purposeful agency, and they're going to have to do a lot of skill development along the way to meet those standards.
So a little bit about art. I cycle through along with woodshop, music, and science through all the homerooms about actually every 3 weeks. And what my goals are are expressing yourself or have the child express themselves through different mediums, experiment and take risks in art, engage and communicate through art, explore and construct a sense of self and develop an understanding of the world around them, and understanding concepts in art and how they relate to science and all of the other subjects that they are studying. Science was one I came up with at the last minute here. So yeah, go ahead.
Hey. So got a little photo tour, and some of this is going to give you an example. It's going to really tie together what Peggy and Jordan were just sharing about in terms of how we are using the art integration during that smash block of time to respond to that essential question of how do we fight with hope? Wanting to anchor that idea of what is a message of hope? How can we share that message of hope? But we also have some lovely photos here. This is this is one of our first integrated times on campus. This is actually in the spring, one of the first times we were back on campus during the pandemic. And this is collaborative learning, building forts out in the forest. And then we'll jump ahead. Here we go. This is our first SMASH project where the 5th graders designed math games. We went through the design process. We're really giving students an opportunity to plan, iterate, and then play them with 4th graders. This is an example of science in the classroom. So this is integrated science during one of those SMASH blocks with students making observations, collaborative learning in math. This is what writer's workshop will look like when students are independently and collaboratively working together. So these two on the right are giving each other feedback on the endings of their personal narratives.
We do have desks, by the way. Just the children seem to really gravitate towards the floor.
We have a lot of, and again, students will often self-select how they want to sit, depending on what we're working on. So when we are working at tables, they'll work at tables. When we are doing whole group work, and then often however they're comfortable. I'm not sure. I'm getting a little lag here. There we go. So here we are, and then this is work from this week. So this is the collaborative work people did in art this week to design a message of hope, and then in one session to design their stencil, and then today they silk screened. And so we have some of the products of how that came out. And this is a view. It's unfortunate. One of the highlights of being on campus is getting to enter Peggy's art barn. This is a beautiful space on campus. We wanted to capture it as best we could, but of course, ain't nothing like the real thing. Here they are silk screening. And so you'll start to see some of the messages of hope that came up.
I think it's really good to view that the children took charge here. Mm-hmm. We taught them how to silk screen, and then we had them take over, which was wonderful.
And so what it looks like the product, right? We have someone who's incorporating, carbon dioxide. We have someone who's just that inspirational message of follow your mind, a real range of, and giving the students the agency and a real range of how they're going to approach this message of hope and where they anchor it. And then this is Robin, our science specialist. This is teaching on Jordan's side today, engaging the students in some thought about young change makers for inspiration, since just that slight generation ahead of where these kids are. And back in the art barn, observing Peggy as she is demonstrating how to silk screen. And look at that 7:10 on the dot.
Well done. Well, this is a time for questions. If you would go ahead and put those in the chat, you can direct them to me. I'm Genevieve, the moderator here. And let's see, I'm trying to think of a good question while we wait here.
You can also wave your hand if you have a question and share out.
Yeah, let's see. Can you, Zach and Jordan, would you talk a little bit about how you scaffold homework in 5th grade?
Homework's fun. So, one of the interesting things about homework is at the elementary level, the research really shows that homework doesn't have a lot of return on value. And that's shocking because we tend to think like more equals more, but in this case, more equals less. Homework is really great at teaching kids executive function and responsibility. And so what we do is we have tasks that either connect to service, or connect to family, or build off what we've already done in the classroom. So the homework package for kids evolves throughout the year as their brain development shifts and they're able to abstract and tackle more. In the beginning, it's really about collaborating with your team, your family, and how do I manage time, right? How do I turn in something a week later and scaffold that? So we teach some calendaring, and then we have 4 major assignments. One is that you read, and then you log your reading, a little accountability piece, right? And we do a lot of study of how to pick a just right book that will develop your reading level. The other one is we expect service, and that can be to do a chore that you don't normally do for your family, and then reflect on, how was that appreciated? And some folks just really love that and think it's the best ever. And then we get a lot of, growing into it. I set the table at the beginning of the year, lovely. And then later on, it might go to, I collaborated with a local food bank and got my family into doing this as they grow into that. And then we have writing, which the kids get to do creative writing based on our writing lessons. And then there's collaborative math games that connect students to the curriculum. So parents get to do the math we're doing, but it's also fluency development because you get to play and hear other people's perspectives in doing collaborative math games. So that's the homework package. And then as we get closer to middle school, it becomes more an executive function demand with different assignments being due at different times so they can practice that skill. So we dip down, everything gets kind of hard again, and we build those executive function skills. And then by the time they go over there, they're pretty good at managing their time and have experienced procrastination positively and negatively a few times.
Great. Anna, would you talk a little bit about students who haven't been, who aren't familiar with illustrative mathematics and how that works if they were to enter in at a later grade at Catlin? How does that work for them?
Sure. We are, so my role is I'm in all the classrooms. I'm in all of the classrooms, dividing my time between their math and monitoring students and helping the teachers with the curriculum and instruction. So, to collaboratively with the homeroom teachers, we always have our eyes on all of the students. Most students slide right into illustrative mathematics and feel really safe. It might take a little bit at the beginning to get them to share or get them used to being in a math community where we're having discourse and, talking about making mistakes but we, I think through partnership with other students and then just encouraging and setting classroom norms, we are trying to just integrate all students. So I haven't come across a student yet who is new to Catlin Gable and has a hard time getting into the math structure. But I'm also in constant communication with teachers. So if that were to happen, we would, come up with a plan to help that student and support the student. So
great, thank you. So we have a question here. How much do the 2 classrooms work together?
Well, deeply. Behind the scenes right now, of course, we can only combine the students outdoors. We aren't able to combine the students indoors at the moment. However, pre-pandemic, Jordan and I would have the accordion doors between our classrooms open constantly. And that's the spirit of our collaboration. Jordan and I share a plan book. We build, slide decks and materials for each other. We have gotten into a groove where we really do plan and in lockstep and balance things out so that, I think as the more minds are better, is I think sort of our philosophy in approaching, certainly in reaching this wonderful range of kids.
Great. There's a question here about math standards, state math standards, and how students are able to do that, and is there opportunity for them to meet and exceed in math at Catlin, as well as, you know, seeing that there's a lot of inquiry-based learning. How is the math balanced in throughout the day?
Sure. So if I'm getting this right, we teach Common Core standards. So we follow Common Core standards, which are Oregon state standards as well. And our program is illustrative mathematics, gives tasks that we call low floor, high ceiling. And so what that means is that anyone can enter into the problem. And then, you know, if we have a student who's, you know, a high math student, they can go beyond the task. Sorry, kids and dog. So we do have an accelerated program in the middle school. So all of our sixth graders enter into an accelerated program, accelerated in the middle school, that we combine 6th, 7th, and 8th grade into 2 years instead of 3 years. And what that helps us with is that all students can graduate taking calculus from the upper school. We will monitor students and meet them where they need to be met. We don't have a tag program, but we do meet students where they need to be met. But a lot of that happens within the classroom because our curriculum is so flexible that we can really meet the needs of most students in the classroom. Did that answer all the questions?
Yeah. Jordan, were you
I
going to
was
pop in
going to
there?
say it's also the classroom structured differently, right? I mean, in 5th grade alone, we have 4 adults that are in there working with kids, putting us at a 1-to-10 ratio, right? And that's just the norm. It's often that yet another teacher, or sometimes 2, come in depending on the project or what we're doing. So it would be easy and normal for me to identify on an assessment 4 kids that didn't quite get it, or 4 kids that I'm like, you're on the cusp of doing something more. I feel like I can really push you to a different cognitive edge here, and have one teacher lead my core lesson and another teacher pull and do a mini lesson. And that can be dynamic, like identified one day, implemented the next. And you can do that when you have the ratios that we have. It's the flexibility you get with the amount of adults we have in the classroom.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you to this team. I appreciate it. It was great to hear from you all. And thanks everybody for joining us and meeting the 5th grade team and our wonderful art teacher and our math specialists.